I needed to get this off my chest because I've been feeling really weird about this whole situation. My girlfriend Sylvia, 23F, and I, 23M, have been together for 3 years after meeting in our sophomore year of college. We clicked instantly during a campus LGBTQ+ club meeting where we were both volunteering. Sylvia was this vibrant, outgoing person who could light up any room, while I was more reserved. We balanced each other perfectly. Sylvia had always been open about being a casual smoker. She enjoyed smoking weed with friends on weekends or after particularly stressful days. I don't smoke myself, tried it a few times in college but it wasn't for me. Still, I never had any issues with her smoking as long as she was safe about it. We moved in together last year after graduating, got jobs in the same city, and everything seemed perfect. We even started talking about marriage and our future together. Things started changing about 3 months ago when Sylvia got a new job at a marketing firm. She was excited about the work and kept talking about how great her coworkers were, especially this guy James, 25M, who was showing her the ropes. I was happy she was fitting in well at work. Sylvia had struggled with anxiety in her last job, so seeing her excited about this one made me feel good. A few weeks ago, Sylvia casually mentioned during dinner that she had smoked with James after work. It was such a throwaway comment, like she was telling me about the weather. When I asked when this happened, she said it was a couple of weeks ago. I found it weird because we usually tell each other everything about our days, from what we had for lunch to funny things that happened at work. When I asked why she never mentioned it before, she got defensive and said she didn't think it was a big deal. I tried explaining that I wasn't mad about the smoking itself but about her not telling me. She just brushed it off saying she's allowed to do things without reporting every detail to me. The thing is, Sylvia and I have always been super open with each other. We share everything. When I go out for drinks with classmates or colleagues, I always text her updates or tell her about it later, not because I have to but because I want to. It's just how our relationship has always been. So this felt really out of character. I started paying more attention after that incident and noticed some changes in her behavior. She had been staying late at work more often, saying she was hanging out with coworkers. She would come home smelling like weed but wouldn't mention smoking with anyone. Her phone was always face down now, and she had started taking it with her even just to go to the bathroom, something she never did before. Last week, I saw some messages pop up on her phone when she was in the shower. I know I shouldn't have looked, but something in my gut told me something was wrong. The messages were from James asking if she wanted to smoke again after work. What caught my eye was Sylvia's response saying she needed to come up with a better excuse this time because I was getting suspicious. Then I scrolled up a bit and my heart dropped. There were other messages where they were flirting and James was calling her cute nicknames. He had sent her heart emojis and she had responded with kissy faces. I confronted Sylvia about it when she got out of the shower and she completely flipped out. She said I invaded her privacy by looking at her messages. When I pointed out that she had been lying about smoking with James, she admitted they had been hanging out regularly after work for the past 2 months. She claimed they were just friends and I was being paranoid and controlling. She said this was exactly why she didn't tell me about smoking with him in the first place, because she knew I would overreact. The worst part came next. My best friend Amy, 24F, works at the same company in a different department. When I told her about what happened, she got really quiet. After some pushing, she finally told me that she had seen Sylvia and James being very close at work. They would always take lunch breaks together, and she had spotted them holding hands in the parking lot once. Amy didn't tell me earlier because she wasn't completely sure if something was going on and didn't want to cause problems without proof. She also mentioned that several other coworkers had commented on how close Sylvia and James seemed. I feel completely betrayed. Not just by Sylvia but also by Amy for keeping this from me. Sylvia and I had talked about marriage just a few months ago. We even picked out rings together at a local jewelry store. We had plans to get married next year and had already started looking at venues. Now I don't know what to believe anymore. Sylvia is still saying nothing happened between her and James but I can't trust her after all the lying. I packed a bag and I'm staying at my sister's place right now. Sylvia keeps calling and texting saying we need to talk and that I'm overreacting. She says I'm throwing away 3 years over nothing and that I'm being immature by not coming home to talk it out. Part of me wants to believe her but the other part knows there's more to this story that she's not telling me. The Sylvia I knew would never hide things from me or gaslight me like this. My sister thinks I should end the relationship because trust is already broken, but it's not that simple. We have a life together, a shared apartment, shared friends, even a cat we adopted together. Plus, I still love her despite everything. I don't know what to do next. I'll write a more detailed version of Update 1 while keeping the same narrative flow and emotional impact. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last post and things have gotten even messier. After staying at my sister's for a few days, Sylvia kept bombarding me with messages saying we needed to talk in person. She said texts and calls weren't enough to explain everything, and she wanted to clear the air. My sister advised against meeting her, saying Sylvia just wanted to manipulate me more, but I needed answers. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop, neutral territory where we used to have dates when we first started seeing each other. Sylvia looked terrible, like she hadn't been sleeping well. Part of me felt bad for her, But then I remembered all the lies. After some small talk and awkward silence, she finally admitted that she and James had kissed once while they were high. She swore it didn't go further than that. According to her, they were smoking in his car after work about a month ago, and things just happened. She said she regretted it immediately and that's why she didn't tell me. She didn't want to hurt me over what she claimed was a one-time mistake. I was trying to process this new information when she dropped another bombshell. She said the reason she had been spending so much time with James was that he was going through a rough divorce and needed someone to talk to. She painted herself as this supportive friend who got too close while trying to help someone in pain. It was such a perfect story, almost too perfect. The next day, Amy reached out again. She had been feeling guilty about not telling me everything earlier and couldn't keep quiet anymore. What she told me made me realize just how deep Sylvia's lies went. Apparently, Sylvia and James had been spotted making out in his car multiple times in the office parking lot, not just once like she claimed. Other coworkers had seen them getting coffee together before work, taking long lunch breaks, and leaving together almost every evening. The worst part? Sylvia had been telling people at work that we were in an open relationship. She had apparently told everyone that I was completely fine with her seeing other people and that we had a modern, progressive relationship. Some coworkers even thought I was cool with everything because Sylvia would occasionally mention plans with James in front of others while texting me about working late. When I confronted Sylvia with this new information, she finally broke down. The smoking sessions were never just about smoking, they were excuses to spend time with James. They had been sleeping together for the past 3 months, pretty much since she started the new job. She admitted she developed feelings for him right away but didn't know how to end things with me because our lives were so intertwined. Then came the most shocking revelation. Sylvia had already moved some of her clothes and personal items to James's apartment. She had been slowly moving things out when I was at work, preparing for an eventual breakup. The only reason she hadn't left yet was because of her sister's wedding next month. She didn't want to cause family drama before the big day, so she was planning to wait until after the wedding to tell me everything. I asked her about all the wedding venues we had looked at together, the rings we had picked, the future we had planned. She just cried and said she got carried away with the planning because she didn't want to hurt me. All those times we talked about our future together, she was already planning her exit. I'm devastated but also angry. Not just at Sylvia but at myself for being so blind. All the signs were there, the late nights, the secretive behavior, the sudden protectiveness of her phone, the way she stopped sharing details about her day. I just didn't want to see them. I kept making excuses for her behavior, telling myself she was just busy with the new job or stressed about work. My sister was right, Sylvia just wanted to meet so she could control the narrative. She only admitted to things I could prove and tried to minimize everything else. If Amy hadn't come forward with the whole truth, I might have actually believed Sylvia's story about one drunken kiss and supporting a friend through divorce. I'm back at my sister's place now, and this time I'm not going back. Sylvia keeps sending messages saying she knows she messed up but that she still loves me and maybe we can work things out after some time apart. She even suggested couples counseling. But how do you come back from months of lying and cheating? How do you trust someone who could look you in the eye and plan a wedding while sleeping with someone else? The hardest part is facing our shared friends and family. Some of them think I should give her another chance because everyone makes mistakes. They don't understand that this wasn't just a mistake, it was months of calculated deception. Every time she came home late, every text about working overtime, every kiss goodbye in the morning, it was all part of the lie. I've started looking for my own apartment. I can't go back to our shared place, too many memories, too much pain. My sister says I can stay with her as long as I need, but I need to start fresh somewhere new. Somewhere without reminders of Sylvia and our life together. Update 2: It's been 2 months since everything blew up and my life has changed completely. After our last confrontation, Sylvia moved out while I was at work one day. I came home to find half our apartment empty. She had taken all her things, including some items we had bought together. She left her key on the kitchen counter with a letter saying she was sorry but she and James were going to try having a real relationship. In the letter, she also revealed something that made my blood boil. She had told her family and friends that we broke up because I was controlling and paranoid. She claimed I had been checking her phone constantly, tracking her location, and forbidding her from having male friends. None of this was true, but she needed a way to explain our sudden breakup without admitting to her affair. Her story spread quickly through our social circle. Her sister, who was always close to both of us, has been posting passive-aggressive comments about toxic relationships and emotional abuse on social media. Several mutual friends have unfollowed me and stopped responding to my messages. Even some of my own friends seemed unsure about what to believe. The most painful part was losing Amy's friendship. After telling me about Sylvia and James, she stopped talking to me completely. She said she felt too guilty about keeping their secret initially and that being around me reminded her of her own role in everything. I understand her feelings, but it hurts to lose my best friend on top of everything else. Yesterday brought another twist to this whole mess. I ran into James's ex-wife Lisa at a coffee shop. I almost left when I recognized her from photos, but she approached me first. She had heard about me from their mutual friends and wanted to talk. What she told me made everything make more sense. Apparently, this wasn't the first time James had done this. He has a pattern of pursuing women in relationships, especially at work. Lisa told me he did the same thing to her, started as friendly smoke sessions after work, then emotional support during tough times, and eventually turned into an affair. When she found out about him and Sylvia, she wasn't even surprised. According to Lisa, James loves the chase and the secrecy but gets bored once the relationship becomes real. She gave him 3 years of her life before finding out about his multiple affairs with coworkers. Sylvia wasn't special, she was just his latest target. When I told Lisa about Sylvia moving in with him, she actually laughed and said to give it 3 months tops. The conversation with Lisa made me realize how similar Sylvia and I were to Lisa and James. Both relationships destroyed by the same person, both of us painted as the villains in our own stories. Lisa seems to have moved on and rebuilt her life, which gives me hope that I can do the same. I've started documenting everything, screenshots of messages, emails, conversations with coworkers who knew about the affair. Not because I plan to use them, but because Sylvia's lies about me being abusive are affecting my relationships and potentially my reputation. Some of our mutual friends have already reached out to apologize after hearing other versions of the story that conflict with Sylvia's claims. The apartment feels empty now, even though I've rearranged everything and removed all traces of Sylvia. Her cat, the one we adopted together, clearly misses her. He keeps sitting by the door at the time she used to come home. I considered letting her take him, but he's registered under my name and I couldn't bear to lose him too. The hardest part is running into people who don't know what happened. Just last week, our old neighbor asked when Sylvia and I were finally getting married. I stood there frozen, not knowing how to explain that the person they thought was perfect for me had been living a double life for months. I keep thinking about how different things might be if I hadn't seen those messages on her phone that day. Would she have gone through with her plan to wait until after her sister's wedding? Would she have kept lying to me while building a life with James? Sometimes I think finding out when I did was a blessing in disguise, even though it doesn't feel like it most days. Update 6 months have passed since my world turned upside down, and I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. A lot has happened since my last update. Sylvia and James's relationship crashed and burned exactly as Lisa predicted. They barely made it 3 months. From what I heard through mutual friends, he started pulling away and staying late at work, just like he did with his ex-wife. The irony wasn't lost on me. Sylvia tried reaching out about 2 months ago. She sent a long email apologizing for everything, the affair, the lies, and especially for spreading false stories about me being abusive. She admitted that she made up those stories to save face with her family and friends. According to her email, James had already moved on to someone else at work, and she finally understood how Lisa must have felt. I didn't respond to her email. What could I say? That I forgive her for destroying our 3-year relationship? For making me question every memory we shared? For turning our friends against me with lies? Some of our mutual friends have reached out after learning the truth, saying they should have known better than to believe her stories. I'm polite when I run into them, but I'm not interested in rebuilding those relationships. I've made some positive changes in my life. I got a promotion at work and used the salary increase to move to a new apartment in a different part of town. It's smaller than our old place, but it's mine, and there are no memories of Sylvia here. The cat adjusted well to the new space, and he finally stopped waiting by the door for her to come home. Amy reached out recently too. We met for coffee, and she broke down crying, saying she should have told me everything as soon as she noticed something was wrong between Sylvia and James. She explained that she was scared of losing her job if she got involved in workplace drama, but she regretted choosing her comfort over our friendship. We're slowly working on rebuilding our relationship, but it's different now. Trust, once broken, takes time to repair. Sylvia's sister eventually apologized for her social media posts. She had recently caught her own boyfriend cheating and realized how wrong she had been to judge me without knowing the full story. She even offered to publicly clear my name, but I declined. I'm done with the drama and public spectacles. The whole experience changed me in ways I'm still discovering. I'm more cautious now, but not bitter. I've started dating again, casually, and I'm upfront about my boundaries and expectations. When people ask about Sylvia, I tell them the truth without emotion. She cheated, she lied, and we're better off apart. Lisa and I still meet for coffee occasionally. There's something comforting about talking to someone who truly understands what you've been through. She's engaged now to someone who respects her, and seeing her happy gives me hope for my own future. Sometimes I still get angry thinking about how Sylvia tried to destroy my reputation to cover up her own mistakes. But mostly, I'm just grateful I found out who she really was before we got married. The pain of ending a 3-year relationship is nothing compared to the pain of divorcing someone who could lie so easily. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in months, I'm excited to find out. My life isn't perfect, but it's mine, and that's enough for now.